All right, guys. This next little segment is going to be on how to check books in and how to check books out. So we are still looking at the screen that has my information on it. I've already told you guys I really like that little box that everything can go into. What I want to show you right now is another way that you can use that little box. And this is great if you have a student who's brand new to the school and does not know what their lunch number is, or if you have a teacher who doesn't know what her number is, and that's going to happen to you a lot. So, what's nice about this little box is you should also put people's last names in the box. So, I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to put in the last name Smith, and this is a really good time for us to stop and have a quick conversation about what we're seeing, kind of in a bigger sense, I guess. So, I put in Smith. I pulled up a list of every single Smith that was in our school last year. So now I stop. Um, as library aide, you have got access to information about students that most students do not have. And with that privilege comes some responsibility. And so that responsibility includes not talking about, looking up information from anything that you see inside of Atrium. For example, we don't randomly look up people to see what their pictures look like. We don't randomly look up people to see what they're reading. Let me say that one more time. We do not randomly look up people. When we look up a person in Atrium, there's a reason why we're looking up a person in Atrium. So we're not just randomly doing this. Okay, just make sure that's clear, because I want you to be able to continue to be a library aide. So, yeah, a lot of responsibility. But anyway, here we have our Smiths, right? And our Smiths, I am looking for a particular Smith. I'm looking for Caitlin Smith. So I can scroll down to see all of the Smiths here. Caitlin was right here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up her record. We're going to take a look at a couple of things, okay? I can see Caitlin's name. I see her lunch number. I see some information that's super important right here that we're going to talk a little bit more about later. I can see if she owes anything for overdue fines or if she has lost a book. If she's lost a book, the cost of the book is going to appear right here. So we could take a look at that. There was a red number right there. And then down here where it says materials checked out, there would be a list of things that she has checked out if she had anything checked out. So I'm looking and I don't see anything checked out to her. You might remember that long list that I had, right? So it'd all be listed right here. So we're going to check out. She's brought up a couple of books. Ms. Brutman has randomly selected 2 books to check out to her. The first thing that I want to show you on the books is what you're going to be looking for to scan. So on the book, if you turn the book to the back, you're going to see sometimes two barcodes there. Here's one right here, and there's another one right here. This first one is put there by the company. A lot of times bookstores will use this barcode in order to check you out and sell the book to you. That is not the barcode that we need to be scanning. If you scan this barcode, you're going to hear coach's whistle sound, letting you know that you've made a mistake and that you need to correct the mistake. So yeah, the barcode that we need is that other one. I'm going to hold it close just so hopefully you can see that it says Hewitt Trustville Middle School on it. So that's the one that we have added to the book, and that's the one that you will be scanning when you check out a book to a student. So I'm going to do that real quickly. I'm going to grab the scanner. This is the scanner that you guys use up at the checkout desk. And I'm going to pull the trigger. When I pull I'll let y'all see it. It's a light gray. When I pull the trigger, it activates the scanner. You might can see the red light blinking. You don't want to pull this and scan it in somebody's eyes or your own eyes. But you're going to go ahead and point it at the book and you can see the line. You have to line that line up with the lines on the barcode. And you have to make sure that you get the red horizontal line to go across all of the vertical black lines. When you scan it, you'll hear a beep And then if you look on the screen, the book has appeared down at the bottom on the screen. Now, one thing I noticed about this is that the book is not connected to Caitlin's record yet. It's in a separate bubble by itself. This is not checked out to her. It's just been scanned. And that's an important thing to understand is I have not checked out that book to her yet. I have just scanned it into the queue. The queue is the separate little bubble area at the bottom. Okay, so I've scanned it into the queue. I've got one other book that she wants to check out, so I'm going to grab it. I'm going to flip it to the back. This book only has one barcode on it. It's the one that we added. So I'm going to scan it also. Scan it. It also appears in the queue at the bottom. So now I'm ready to check the book out to her. And all I need to do is look up at the top up here at these buttons. Now, and we'll take a look at this in a second. These buttons will be grayed out. You won't be able to select any of these buttons unless there is something in the queue. So we have some items in the queue. All of the buttons are lit up and I can select any of the buttons I want to. So I want to check these books out to Caitlin. And guys, the difference between checking in and checking out. If they are taking the books out of the library, they are checking the books out. If they are bringing the books back in to the library, we are checking the books in. Okay, and I wouldn't go over this if we didn't have people that were confused about this. So checking out means they're taking them out. Checking them in means they're bringing the books back in. Okay, so we're checking out. I'm looking for the button that says check out. I'm going to click it, and normally you'll be able to hear a sound that sounds like a fairy godmother with her magic wand. Okay, if you hear the magic wand fairy sound, you know that you checked those books out correctly to her. It even says right here, check out results, successes 2. If I close this window and I look at Caitlin's record, I'm going to see that the 2 books aren't down in the queue anymore. They're actually attached to her record. So that means that the books are now checked out to her. Okay, so yeah, that's basically how you check out books. Okay, let's say Caitlin reads them. Caitlin turns them back in. She's dropped them into one of our book drops. Okay, you go to the book drop, you get all the books out, and in the big stack of books is both of Caitlin's books that she's turning in. To turn these books back in, you're going to do the same thing. We're going to scan the barcodes first. So let me scan it, and you're going to see, oh, there it is. You're going to see it show up in the queue. There it is. Let me scan the other one. You can do multiple books at a time. You do not have to do them one at a time. So if I have 15 books I need to check in, I can scan all 15 of them at the same time. So let me scan this one. Okay, it's now down in the queue. Since I'm checking these in, I'm going to click the check in button. And you will hear a sound, and it will tell you, it'll even say check in results. When you do check ins, a lot of times Atrium will give us messages about the books that are being checked in. Sometimes these books are being waited on by someone. Someone else has reserved the book. They want to be the next person in line to get that book. If that happens, then you're going to notice an orange message over here in this little window. So whenever you turn in books, especially if you've got a big stack of 15 and it shows you this little window, you can only see 2 books in the window. You need to scan down and look at all 15 of those books and see if you have an orange or red message anywhere. Because if Atrium ever gives you an orange message or a red message, you need to stop and read it. Because it's trying to let us know something about one of the books. Either something's wrong or there's a message about somebody else maybe wanting the book. All right, that should cover checking books in and checking books out.